Welcome, my warrior brothers and sisters from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Yes, the home of the brave. Okay, it doesn't matter. First off, I just want to say that I want to give a special thanks to my wife for helping me set up this recording and just all the support she's given me over many, many years. So I have to shout out to her first. So my name is David Ackrish. I am the founder of Black Dragon Modern Combat. This is where tradition becomes evolution with the modernized strategies and tactics for civilian close quarter, rapid conflict resolution, self-defense training. Yes, it's a mouthful. I actually already put out a video, but this is actually my introduction video, so why not put it out second instead of first? My goal with this channel is threefold. Let's start with, it's taken a while to actually put up a channel and want to do this. I'm an honest person, so I'm going to be honest from the very get-go. That talking about self-defense, combat, oh my goodness, it's crazy. I'd rather practice and do it than talk about it, but I feel, sorry, there's a lot of flies around here. It's hot, and we're outside, we're a beautiful home. But I just feel actually an obligation after almost 60 years of training and working through different systems, and I'm putting myself out there, and I'm going to put a lot of videos out. I know there's a lot of people doing this, but I can guarantee not everyone has 55 continuous years of training, looking at different systems, talking with different people. We actually both grew up in Seattle, which is a hotbed and was a hotbed for martial arts like crazy. Of course, you know, Bruce Lee was there. He had many students, many branches, many tributaries came off of his school and his teachings. And it was just an amazing time to be there. And you know, that's where my background is. That isn't why I got into any of this. Actually, it was long before I even knew who Bruce Lee was, but we'll talk about that later. But I want to go back and talk about really what this channel is about. It's three things, and this is not my business. This is my passion. So I'm not trying to push anything. I'm just putting myself out there with my background and knowledge, and I just will say up front, I welcome, and I'll get into this in another video, but any comments will not be taken off. You can say whatever you want. Of course, be respectful to each other as much as you can, but be open and be honest, and because that's what we want. But and then there's a lot of dishonesty, and that's me being honest, that haven't been really looking. I'm so busy that I'm not reading and sitting around and looking at videos all day, and I'm like amazed where things have changed. And it's kind of lit my fire, to be honest. So anyway, so this channel is threefold, and I have my computer here so I can go over it. It's about personal protection and non-reliance, and that means non-reliance on always expecting somebody else to do the work for you. So I have extreme belief of civilian training, of people just even spending a half an hour, an hour a day, heck, a half an hour a week, just thinking about or doing something that will bring you a little bit. And I always say, you know, everyone says, oh, this will do this or that. There's no guarantees. You don't know who you're going, nothing. There's so many things that are so goofy, and I'm going to go over so much of that. You can agree with me or disagree, but it's just goofy. To ever paint a picture of like, oh, that's what's going to happen, and you're only going to go in. No, you're not. You don't know what's going to happen in life. You don't even know somebody's going to pull in front of you while you're out there pulling into the, out of the driveway. So how could you ever know? But that doesn't mean you shouldn't prepare. So, but my true belief is self-reliance, and I realized I wasn't going to really go deep into this, but it's so important to me, and I think it's been stripped away. I say it's a missing link in society. That's where I'm at least at this point. Anyways, my second part of the video is about what or how you should train. So if you're already training or if you're not, and I'm going to get way deep into that in another video that I'm actually calling, is it martial or is it just art? And then third point is if you are training, it's kind of the same idea. Is it realistic to close quarter combat and for rapid conflict resolution? And I want to differentiate between three things, even right here. I know this is just my introduction, but hey, this is me doing what I want to do. And I see it as the world of, I don't even like saying martial arts, but I'm going to say martial arts. I'm going to use it because that's what everybody says. But is it sport? Is it self-defense? Is it combat? And one of the ways to think of between self-defense and combat is life or death, or you're just trying to defend yourself and everybody says just get away and run away. And everybody knows that. I've heard the same story 10 zillion times. I've been doing this since I was 6. I just hear the same thing all the time, which is fine, but a lot of it's kind of goofy. But there's a certain type of training for when you can't run away, or something's happening, or it's life and death. And that type of training, I think a lot of people shy from and don't even want to think about it. And I do. And that's one of the probably main areas of my thinking and my feeling and my passion is bringing that forward, and even talk about systems where it's been truly watered down instead of what it came from, what it in my eyes should be, and where it's going. And like one of the big systems is Wing Chun. Now I've been doing it for 45 years, not 45 minutes, not 45 days, not even 45 weeks, 45 consistent years. It's been a core of who I am. It's not the only thing, but it's a core of the training and the science and the knowledge and the geometry and everything else that goes along with it. So I'll be getting into that later. And do I believe in it? Of course I do. It's incredible. And it's just been turned into something I don't even know what. So, but there are some great people out there. I'm not going to mention any names as much as I possibly can unless I have their permission. I think it would be very disrespectful. But there's a wonderful, because now I'm looking on YouTube and I saw a wonderful Sifu who's doing, I just think, a great job of showing the power, the truth of Wing Chun and where it takes you. And so, but we'll get into that later. So back to a little bit more. And I talked about, okay, so for instance with myself, I've trained, in 55 years, I've trained actually way more than this, but I have here 5 different Wing Chun Sifus. Excuse me, that would be both classical and non-classical. Non-classical is the breakaway from, like for instance, some schools didn't do any forms. So that in a way is a non-classical instead of following the traditional forms. So the 3 different forms, sit them down and all that. And so, and even the movement of footwork was more towards, again, the Bruce Lee Jeet Kune Do, fencing, weight shifting, or just, it was just different. It was the same but different, the same core ideas, but a different way even of approaching Wing Chun. So, and that's a big thing that should be talked about also. Every school is different. I'll get into that. Okay, I apologize because I want to stop there. But the other thing, and I've been in 3 different Choy fight systems. Now, a lot of people, Choy fight's finally moved its way forward into the world, and so I think that's wonderful. I see people do comment about it. More people are taking Choy fight. It's incredible. But I've trained under 3 different types of different systems of Choy fight. Choy fight, there's different ones. And so I put my time there too. And then another area that I really believe in is the Filipino martial arts. And I've looked at 5 different branches of it, or I call them tribes. And I believe the Filipino martial arts is amazing. And if you can't find, for instance, Wing Chun school, and that's what you really want to do, I would highly suggest looking for a Filipino martial art, or vice versa. So I think that would be wonderful. If you can't find either of those, and I'm just going off into my other ideas, is maybe, and I really believe in this, is look at a Kendo school. Kendo is amazing. It's a weapon. It's fast. Yes, it's a sport, but it's incredible. And so what it teaches you, the forward movement. Part of what I do in the school is, I would say 15% using Kendo ideas, but in other words, one of the things I don't do is stay on the right foot all the time. I mean, the footwork's completely different. But the essence, and that's how I look at Choy fight, the essence of Kendo is phenomenal. The skill, the knowledge, the athleticism is, it's amazing. And so that'd be a school that I would look at. So those are three schools, four actually: Wing Chun, Charlie Fight, Filipino martial arts, and maybe Kendo. Okay, and then and I've been involved in all those and so much more. But that's a really important area for me of actually trying to train in a way that brings you closer to reality, whatever that means, of movement and being in ability and skill. Anyways, I've been hitting the Mook Jong for over 40 years, so that's another thing. And what I'm going to do is a 20-part series on the Mook Jong, but it's not Wing Chun Mook Jong, even though part of it is. It's, for me, all the different ideas that's come to me, because that's what's supposed to be something that teaches you, that you're not just doing something against something and I'm trying to hit it and break it. No, it's what it develops into and what it teaches you. I even think of that with the Shinai from Kendo. It's one of my senseis. What it's showing me, it's incredible. The Mook Jong is incredible, and I believe everybody should have a Mook Jong and should use it to some degree, even a little bit, and a little bit of an understanding of it. But I'm going to give 20 different ideas. 20, I could probably do 40, but 20 different ideas based around the Mook Jong. And so that really just skims the surface of my background of what I call hands-on knowledge. I didn't just watch, it's me kind of being not very nice, but I didn't watch a couple of videos or buy a whole bunch of training equipment off of Amazon and then just pretend I'm a master. It's, you got to put your time in. I mean, I was going to say it takes a year. That's almost a joke. But I'd say if somebody's stuck with something at least for a year, you're going to get a really good idea, or in Wing Chun, a little idea of what's going on, what it's about, what you start getting the feeling. It's not going to happen in combat. It's not going to happen in combat training. Why would someone ever believe you're going to do something for 30 minutes a couple times a week and then you've learned everything? It's just, to me, it's absolutely insane. Under the most duress, stressful moment probably of your life, if that ever happens, and nobody wants it to happen. That's, everybody's going to say that. Well, of course we don't. Nobody does. But violence happens. I mean, there used to be an old bumper sticker that was something else happens. I'm saying violent. It happens. But the other part of it is, the training is so good for you and so healthy and neurological, and for your mind and for your blood flow and for your spirit and for your confidence, that it brings so much. And millions of people have probably already said all this about martial arts, and it is. And yes, I said martial arts. It is. I think it's incredible. Even if there's only one school in and maybe it's not so great, but it's in your small town, I say go do it. You're going to stretch, you're going to run around, you're going to open up your chi, your ki. It's going to be good for you. And it's going to even bring your mind to some degree of awareness, of self-defense, of feeling like you're doing something and moving, and just moving alone, but not just to move in any haphazard way, but you're moving in a way that has a combat energy to it. So even doing a traditional kata is a combat energy, and what you can take from it. Or there's so many videos on YouTube where you can take that and expand it, like I'm saying with the Mook Jong, where you may not go, oh man, I'm applying it. I'm applying my art, my ideas, or what I'm learning further your mind, open your mind. And so, again, that's what this channel's about. As I said, and I come from the days of full contact sparring with no gear. And this is the old days where you had to prove yourself just to get a foot in the door. And I like what one Sifu said, now you just hand a credit card, hey, show me everything. And those days, there was no, you fought your way in, or you had to prove yourself, or if they didn't like you or didn't like your looks, whatever it was. These are really kind of the days of the underground schools, or you had to be invited in. there's different degrees and levels of those schools, but that was different. And was it good or bad? I don't know. Just what is was what it was. Maybe it is what it is. I know there's places now that you're not going to be able to go to them, and they're underground. But anyways, and as I said, grew up in Seattle, and it was a hotbed of martial arts, especially with all Bruce Lee students. Really, I call it influencing the way, and it was an amazing time. And I didn't even know, because when I was growing up, there was like a karate school, and it was one of the scariest places. That school itself was, they did full contact, no gear. These people were committed to what they were doing, and I'm glad I was able to see that. Where, I mean, I'm sorry, but these days, there was a school when we just left Seattle. There was a school, and I would watch across from our office. I call it the dry gi school. It's 45 minutes. I'm just warming up after 45 minutes. 45-minute classes of just jumping around doing nothing, and I'm walking out with a dry gi. I did not understand, and charging people a lot of money. I think it's criminal. So I don't understand those schools. But that's me. Our schools, for instance, the Choy school it was like a 2-hour class every night, and it was a maybe 45-minute warm-up. That was just the warm-up, and then you do your kicks, and then you get into other things. Then you really went crazy. This school was a lot of forms, and sometimes we sparred, and people were nuts. Which talk about that, the gap between learning techniques and then sparring, and then what's in between. So that would be one of my stories, and how I approached it when I ran one of the schools, and why I left, because it just didn't work out, because I so disrespected. It was amazing, and I was trying to do what I thought was right, of taking something and turning into not just Choy Foot, but combat Choy Foot. How does it work? We had so many people come into the original school and leave because we never, like, you would do like a chin-up, right? 1,000,000 times in the forums. We never did it one time against another person, to understand what we're doing, to understand the timing and the distance and the gapping and the energy and the chi. No. Yeah, we did 3-star and 9-star and all that. But that's not the same. So a lot of people were turned off by that, and they just didn't. And it's not that you can't learn from forums, but you have to apply it. And one of the greatest Sifus of mine, and nobody will ever know who he is, because he just wasn't a guy that made it into the movies or anywhere. He didn't even run a school. He knew more than everybody combined, and he was amazing. And of course, you don't really know that till you look back and go, wow, he knew application like nobody's business. Just phenomenal. But he said, you have to apply your art. And I was just, I'd hear this. I mean, I was like 18 years old or 17, and he was that much older, but he knew. He knew what to do, and I'm glad that he was an influence in my life. And because of him, actually, my next part is I created what's called combat martial arts back in the 80s, because I got sick of what I called fake martial arts. And it was actual combat training, which was hitting things, having people move at you, having people move in a boxing way or in a wrestling or whatever it is, reality. So what I've done is I've allowed myself and I realized even back then in the 80s, no boundaries in my thinking, creating and training well outside the box. For instance, one of the things that I do is I use against one of my Mook Jongs is weapons. I've never seen anybody do it, but I do, and it's not a really expensive Mook Jong, but it's been with me for 30 years, and it's okay. And I feel like I'm not doing it a disrespect. I'm actually elevating it and elevating my ideas of using the Mook Jong. So that's thinking outside the box. And let me tell you, doing open hand versus weapons, training, like a training knife, and training knives on, it's different. There's a different distance. I've hit my fingers before and go, oh, the way it bounces back, and feeling, a different feeling that comes through when you have something in your hand, striking something versus your open hand. It's a whole different world. And if you never do it, I don't know, you're not going to know. So I want people to explore, whether you're a beginner or advanced, it doesn't matter. These 20 videos I'm going to do in the Mook Jong is for everybody, it's for beginners. I saw something amazing on Amazon where this guy bought a Mook Jong, it's almost $500. He goes, now I'm going to look on YouTube and learn how to use it. And I thought, at least he bought something that is dear to my heart, and so good for him. Hopefully he goes to the right channel or he finds mine. I hope. You can't really contact people on Amazon, but yeah, you never know. It may happen. Anyways, I can, this is a long video. I hope I'm keeping you. I know a lot of people shut things down after a few minutes, but I have a lot to say, and I'm going to say it. And I'm saying a lot of it for me because I got to get it out of my system for decades. So the main theme of this channel is to open your mind and possibly change it when it comes to the limited, and mundane and many ridiculous conceptions found both here on YouTube and with the mainstream public views. So wherever you're at in the world of combat, I call it combat self-defense, but even though those are two things in my mind, I'm still calling it that. This channel is for you. You will want to please subscribe to this channel, take advantage of my many, many decades of close quarter combat knowledge. And let me just move this. Thank you for your patience. What I'm saying here is I will rant, I will tell stories, which I already have. I've already ranted, so my promise is coming true here. And I will show you how, why, and what my training is in a certain way. And you may like it, you may hate it, but it's a free world. I really, honestly, people say, oh, I don't mind. You can say whatever you want. Send me, and I have actually a place where you can donate. I'd love it if you donate it. I'll just buy more gear and do more videos. But it's just like buying a cup of coffee. I think it's $3. Hey, why not? I mean, I believe that people that put out information and knowledge, and I've spent decades, money, time, I've put so much out, maybe you should get a little bit back in return, so that's cool. I'm really not going to do any instructional videos. I was thinking about it and I said, no, I'm just going to put it all out there no matter what. I'm not going to do that. And a lot of people do, and good for them, and hopefully they make money and they sell them and stuff, but I'm not. So I'm going to put everything, nothing hidden, no closed door disciple stuff. It's just like the Mook Jong stuff. It's everything I know. It's going to be out onto the Mook Jongs. Actually, I'm getting a new one, so there's going to be two different ones that we can look at and see why I'm using two different ideas. But last part is, to be honest, as I read verbatim, I've had the stupidest questions asked to me. I've been extremely disrespected and arrogance thrown at me by what I say are little pukes who haven't even spent 5 minutes training. It's been interesting. Do I care? Not really, but it's nothing, sometimes it's a cherry, sometimes it's the pits. When you put yourself out there, this is such a weird world that you get so many things said to you, so much stuff that makes no sense, so much of the repeated same old thing, like, well, I'm not going to carry a Kendall sword around, why am I going to learn that? I'm like, you know what, if you can't see through it, there's nothing that, you need to figure that out. Like, why I even suggested it? Why would I even suggest Kendo for actual combat self-defense? How does that tie together? Oh, it does. And I've already said here that all comments will be accepted. I'm just using the terms negative and positive. It doesn't matter. You can contact me anytime personally. One little story here is, and this leads into another video I'm going to do that's just a talk, is that I just never do this, but I commented on a anti-Wing Chun video, and all I asked was just the person's background, how long they've been training, how long they've been working with the Mook Jong, and what was weird about that channel is everything was positive, everything was sycophant, yeah, rah, and I'm like, because there's always somebody saying, nah, that's BS, no, that guy's long sal's too low, or whatever, and I was like, where is it? And nothing. So I just asked what I thought was a respectful, neutral question. And I looked the next day, I'm like, well, where's my, did he answer me? and ooh, like a little kid, and it was just gone. And I'm like, oh. Then I looked at the video, and it was so goofy. The person said that they watched Ip Man movies, and they went and tried Wing Chun, and it didn't. I don't even know how long whatever. It's like, are you kidding me? You watch a movie, and it was just crazy. I'm gonna actually do a video on it. I didn't even know I was gonna do it, but I'm gonna do it. And it's just a commentary on a commentary. And but I saw that, and I thought, well, these movies haven't been out that long, and they're cool. I think they're awesome. And to take the class, or to take a class, okay, I watch a movie, I take the class, how long does it really take to understand what is going to be taught to you, where you can suddenly comment that it doesn't work? That's insane. I could not believe it. And every comment was, and there was a lot. I mean, I think there was 1 million views. It was crazy. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You're not talking about me. You're not talking about my favorite new seafood, other than myself. That's amazing. And he said, I think 32 or 35 years. And I mean, not that you should have to take that many years. One of the schools I went to in Seattle that's still there, and it's called, I think, Sunjo, but we used to call it non-classical Wing Chun. It's a long time ago. I spent a year there. Phenomenal school. And I just didn't understand. I mean, I was there for a year, and we only got I only got so far. And I already had taken all kinds of other Wing Chun, but in that school, all we did was closing, pak sao, millions of vertical punches, and chain or whatever. I don't like that term, and a stomp kick, a lead leg stomp kick for 1 year. And then we did boxing type training and interval training at the end. And that school actually offered other pieces, but until that was instilled into you, where it's just automatic, it's your bread and butter, it's what kind of works every time, how can you say something doesn't work, or it's a joke, or it's just the movies are stupid? Or, well, if the movie's so stupid, why did you take the class based on watching a movie? I just, there's so many holes. It wasn't even, Swiss cheese had more plugs in it. It just didn't make any sense. And so, anyways, so anyway, that's a rant. So I think that's about it. So I've gone way beyond just kind of talking about myself, which, it's something I don't really do much. So I guess I've had a lot to express. But I look forward to hearing from anyone. And this is really from my heart that I'm going to put all this out there. And I hope you look at the Wing Chun dummy, and that's just the start. I'm going to go over all kinds of different ideas outside the box to open your mind. I'm not trying to draw people in. I'm not trying to bring in students. I'm not trying to do any of that. I'm just doing what's kind of been really bottled up inside of me, and it feels good to express it. So I wish you all the best. I hope you're having a great day, and I think that's it. Take care.